Good afternoon and a happy Tuesday to you all. A happy Lenten Tuesday. It's good to be with you. As you can see, I'm flying solo today. Father Anthony, our boss, our pastor, is over in Rome. As you saw yesterday, he sent us an update. He was at the beautiful St. Paul outside the walls. I'm quite jealous. The weather looked a bit better than it is here. He's been having a great time, and he's been praying for us at all of the different churches and basilicas, as he mentioned in the videos. So we miss him, but I'm happy to be behind the wheel and to update you. It's the end of the month of February, the 28th day of the shortest month of the year. It is a true monthly roundup. So with Father Anthony being absent, I figured I had to get Dunkin' Donuts to keep them in business while he was away. And it's keeping me fueled as we're running things here. But without further ado, let's jump in. There's plenty to look back at, plenty to look forward to, especially with the season of Lent and with everything that we just had in the past month and change. So, looking back at the month of February and a little bit of the end of the month of January, we marked, along with our nation, the anniversary of the passing of Roe v. Wade, which of course was overturned last summer, thanks be to God. But we still use the month of January to pray for the unborn, to pray for the dignity of human life. And here in East Islip, here at St. Mary's, our Knights of Columbus and parishioners were a really powerful witness, just like they were last year on January 21st. It was a Saturday morning. They gathered on the steps of the church right on Main Street. And I caught them at the end this year because I had to go do a burial service over at St. Patrick's Cemetery in Bayshore. But it was striking as I was coming back towards the end of their prayer, and I got to see their witness. And it really was powerful, and it really was striking. And then when I did join them at the end, as I watched cars driving past Main Street, everyone kind of looked and noticed. So it was a very powerful and very visible witness to the sanctity of life, to the dignity of life, and its legal protection in all of its stages. So we're so grateful for the Knights of Columbus. I got to see them last weekend. I popped into their meeting, or last Monday rather, popped into their meeting, saw them, thanked them for their witness then, and again, gratitude to all who were involved in their witness. We also marked Catholic Schools Week at the end of January, and it was, for me and Father Anthony, the first real kind of normal, full-blast Catholic Schools Week that we've had since we arrived. Obviously, January of 2021, things were still really limited. I know they had individual tours of the school, and they had sort of an individual registration with prospective families and parents. Last year, we had a similar kind of scenario because we weren't fully back to 100%, although we still had a lot of parents come through the door last year in individual tours. But this year we were back, and in fact it was so great that we ran out of folders with information. We were anticipating about 50 or 60 or so families to come through the door, and we exceeded that. So we were so grateful to open our doors both on the Saturday leading into Catholic Schools Week, and also the Thursday of Catholic Schools Week. We invited parents and families back to get to see the school kind of in full operation with the students at their desks and classes going on. And Thursday we had our school mass for Catholic Schools Week. Father Anthony celebrated it, and it was a great experience for all of the kids. Friday of Catholic Schools Week, sort of towards the end of the week, we decided to have a holy hour to allow our parishioners to join with our faculty, our staff, our students, to pray with each other and to pray for each other, because we believe that it's so important that our parish and our school, while they're two kind of different entities, they really are one family, and they're really two sides of the same coin. And so much of the vibrancy of our parish comes from our school, our young students present. Obviously, you've seen them at Sunday Masses as altar servers, and in different ways in which they're present to our community. So we were grateful to have that opportunity to spend the night in prayer. We had a great turnout. It was a really cold and blustery night, and even still, our principal, Mrs. McMahon, was there, a number of our teachers, a bunch of our students, and then just to see parishioners who in years past had sent their children to the school, or just wanted to come out and pray with us and pray for our school community, that we continue to live out our mission to preach the gospel and to teach our students in our Catholic faith. So it was a great night, and I thought it was a perfect ending for Catholic Schools Week. This week is actually sort of like a back-to-school week because our kids were off last week. So I was in the cafeteria yesterday and I saw the students, and I was like, are you excited to be back? And I got met with some bleary eyes, kids still wishing they were on break. I got to see them before break, and they were telling me about all their different travel plans and vacation and whatnot. But there were a number of families who stuck around on the island. And because we were mindful of that, and because we had the week off, one of the great ideas that Jess Otto had was to have a winter break bingo afternoon, and that was Tuesday of last week. And it was awesome. We had a really, really great turnout of some of our more senior parishioners as well as some of our younger parishioners. Again, I think that intergenerational thing is so important. So everyone who was there had fun. A number of our youth group kids kind of helped with raffles and checking the bingo sheets to make sure all of the bingo cards were legit and we didn't have any cheaters out there. I was actually a bit of good luck. I stood next to one table right as the winning bingo was called, so they wanted me to stay there for the rest of the round, but I figured I had to make my rounds and spread the luck, although that one table was particularly lucky, and our friend won a few bucks, so that was fun. It was just great to see everyone. So again, we're grateful to Jess and to Family Life for coordinating that event, and keep your eyes peeled on social media and the bulletin. There'll certainly be more events down the pike. Speaking of down the pike, there is a lot to look forward to. We are now in the season of Lent. We had Ash Wednesday last Wednesday, and the place was packed. And it was so great to see so many people coming here to begin the traditional Lenten observances of prayer and fasting and almsgiving, to receive the sign of ashes on their foreheads. And then this past weekend, again, to see people coming out to continue to open themselves up to the presence of the Lord in this holy season. This past weekend was kind of a special one for us because we had our first weekend with the 9 o'clock Mass and the noon Mass that were previously in the auditorium in the church. We had crunched numbers, and now with social distancing not really what it was, we realized that we were able to comfortably have everyone at the 9 o'clock and the noon in the church. There was a bit of standing room at the noon. I didn't have the 9, so I don't know what it looked like. I heard a lot of great things. If you get there and if there's standing room in the back, there were plenty of pews up in the front. You're always welcome to come forward. I'm sure if we kind of, balance everything out, everyone should be able to sit in there comfortably. But I know everyone really remarked about, number one, the obvious, how beautiful our church is, but how it's nice to be together and to pray there in that space. So we're looking forward to continuing to have those masses in the church going forward. Thank you again for your flexibility as we've made that transition from the auditorium to the church, but we're grateful that we were able to make that move. As we find ourselves in the season of Lent, this upcoming Friday and every Friday, we're going to have Stations of the Cross, and there'll be 2 different opportunities. We have 2 different parishes, St. Mary's and St. Peter the Apostle, of course. So for those who prefer to pray while it's still light out, for those who don't want to travel at night, we have the option to pray here at noon at St. Mary's, and our deacons will be presiding at those stations. And for those of you who perhaps would like to pray the stations in the evening, we'll have that available to you at 7 o'clock p.m. every Friday at St. Peter the Apostle up in Islip Terrace. Another opportunity for prayer that we want to offer weekly, in addition to what we already offer, is the opportunity to pray daytime prayer, which is part of the Liturgy of the Hours in the Church's prayer. You might recall every Holy Week on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, the Sacred Triduum, we offer the opportunity to pray morning prayer, which is part of the Liturgy of the Hours, and perhaps you've attended Vespers, which is evening prayer, at various other points. And the Liturgy of the Hours really is the official prayer of the Church, and we believe that the Liturgy of the Hours, or the Divine Office, is the answer to Christ's respond to pray always, to pray without ceasing. And the Church believes that the Divine Office, the Liturgy of the Hours, really sanctifies the day because there are different intentional periods of prayer, so morning prayer, daytime, evening. Daytime prayer is the simplest and the shortest of the hours of the day, and we figured it would be a nice opportunity to offer maybe a pause at midday, to come in. There'll be a brief prayer. We'll pray the Psalms. There'll be a very brief reflection, meditation, fervorino, little homily. Myself and my brother priests will be offering that during those Tuesdays. They'll take place Tuesday afternoon at 1 p.m. in the church. Every Tuesday we expose the Blessed Sacrament at 1 o'clock p.m. And we'll continue to do that. So we'll have exposition of the Blessed Sacrament. We'll go into daytime prayer, and you're welcome to stay for as long or as briefly as you'd like to afterwards. Again, we figure a nice opportunity for prayer and peace and solitude in the Lenten season. You know, I think we all live in the struggle of trying to carve out time, and we live busy lives, and certainly we're no exception here, myself and Father Anthony and Father Alfred and Father Charles. So I know it's so important to find those times and those places. So we hope that, especially on Tuesdays, there'll be moments and opportunities for you to find that peace, to find that prayer. From the peaceful and serene to the festive, this coming Sunday, March 5th, we will celebrate St. Patrick's Day a bit early, and East Islip will mark its annual St. Patrick's Day parade. We have, I think, 150 students in the school who'll be marching. I'll be kind of marching with a number of different groups throughout the parade. I'll be bouncing around, but I'll be there. It's always one of my favorite days of the year. My Irish heritage, how could I not love it? And the Grand Marshal is a St. Peter's parishioner, Tom McHugh, and the aide to the Grand Marshal, Patty Fitzpatrick, who's been super involved here over the years. So it's going to be an honor to celebrate the both of them, two amazing people who've done so much for our community. The parade begins at 2 p.m. Those who are marching will be gathering at the East Islip Library, and we'll be marching westbound and ending here at St. Mary's. We're going to have a grandstand that will be set out on the sidewalk, sort of a reviewing stand to watch everyone go by, and we'll have an MC announcing all of the groups as they pass. And we have a fun little feature for this year. We bought this ginormous Irish flag, which we're going to hang from the tower. So we're going to have our friends over at the East Islip Fire Department help us with that, to hang the flag, to display the termination point, the finish line of our parade. So we have a beautiful church and we have a huge tower, so we figured to highlight this landmark of East Islip at the end of the parade. So if you can make it, we would love to see you at the parade. I'll be there. I know our school students will be there. No doubt Father Anthony and the other priests will be there reviewing the parade. It'll be a fun day, which we're very much looking forward to. St. Patrick's Day itself is on a Friday this year. I know people have been asking whether or not we have a dispensation from the Friday abstinence from meat. I'm not sure yet. That's the bishop's authority to offer a dispensation, so keep your eyes peeled for that. If we hear anything from our bishop, we'll let you know. So that will be determined. Speaking of Friday and abstinence and simplicity, we have an opportunity for us communally as a parish to enter into that discipline, that Lenten Friday discipline, of not just abstaining from meat and then having like a nice big lobster dinner, which is always my temptation every Friday, but to really have a more muted meal, a more simple meal. So we're going to have a parish soup supper on Friday, March 24th. It's going to be at 6 o'clock p.m. in the auditorium. There'll be details to follow, but we invite you to be with us, because one of the important aspects of Lent is that we balance our individual sacrifices, our individual offerings that we make, the things that we give up, and all of us have, maybe the things that correspond to, the things that we feel attached to and that we really ought to give up. But also, we don't want to lose the communal nature of our Lenten season. So we're going to have this as a certain opportunity for us to be with each other, to walk with each other in a spirit of community, in a spirit of church in this Lenten season. One particular aspect of gathering that a number of us in the parish are going to have will be a retreat that's going to take place up at the Seminary of the Immaculate Conception. The weekend following this, we had 20 parishioners sign up, which I thought was absolutely incredible. It kind of exceeded what we were expecting. So to have 20 of you, 20 of us being there at the seminary, I think will be an amazing experience. For those of you who can't be with us, please know that you'll be in our prayers. We'll be kind of living our little monastic life for the weekend, praying for all of you, praying for your intentions. But we will have other opportunities as a parish to pray and to be with each other. And I'm really excited to announce that to end the month of March, March 30th, which is a Thursday night, the second to last night of the month, we're going to have a holy hour as we've had over the past few months. This will be a Lenten holy hour, and I'm really excited to announce that the guest preacher, the guest speaker, will be Father Brian Barr. Father Brian is the pastor of the 3 parishes in Long Beach. They're known as Beach Catholic, so that's St. Ignatius Martyr, St. Mary of the Isle, and Our Lady of the Miraculous Medal in Point Lookout. Before that, Father Brian was the vocation director of the diocese. So I personally owe a great debt of gratitude to Father Brian because he was the vocation director, kind of the recruiter that got me aboard and was the one who got me through the application process to seminary. Really, even before that, was the one who encouraged me in a very particular way to discern the priesthood for our diocese. So he's still been a great friend, a great role model. He is an awesome priest. He's a very powerful preacher. If you're familiar with anything that's going on down in Beach Catholic, you know that he's an incredibly vibrant and creative priest, pastor, and for me, a great friend. So I am thrilled that he accepted our invitation to be with us. I texted him and he texted back immediately. He said, "Count me in, I'm there." So he's thrilled to be here. We're thrilled to have him. So that's it. A lot going on. We're thrilled to have these different offerings in these days ahead as we move through these holy days and weeks of the Lenten season. Our prayer for you is that it's a very powerful experience of God's love, of His mercy, of His closeness. We hope that the particular ways that we'll be able to express that as a parish will be opportunities of great grace and of a profound sense of God's presence and His love for us. So we missed Father Anthony, but we know he'll be back. We've been holding down the fort here. He'll be back later on this week. Like I said, he'll be at the parade and he'll be with us going forward. So thanks for taking the time to listen to us, for all that we've had to look back at and all that we have to look forward to. And we look forward to experiencing this Lenten season with you. Thank you and God bless.